made his way up with Angela Yee, and we have a really special guest in the building. I wasn't sure who he was at first, so I had to ask him his name.
Yeah.
LL Cool J is here.
What's up? What's up?
We just had a conversation about if he's ever had to introduce himself like someone doesn't know, and he swears it has.
No one ever recognizes me.
That's
ever.
a lie.
Ever. Never. I'm never recognized. Everywhere I go, nobody knows me.
But congratulations on everything. I mean, it's amazing. I can remember like first hearing LL Cool J myself, you know, coming up, and you were only probably like 16 years old, a skinny kid dancing in front of a radio.
Yeah, it's absolute facts. You know, I'm very grateful. You know what I mean? Like having fun with it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it's about, right? Like you dream it, then make it happen, then dream some more, and then make that happen.
I know. Who would have thought that this much later, like you're about to be back on tour. This has been 30 years since you've done arena tours.
Yes.
Right? Who could have ever thought that it would be like this? I remember you said you had to explain what hip hop was.
Oh yeah,
when you
definitely.
first started performing.
100%. Like I was in Maine. I did a concert in Maine, and you know, they had never seen it before at all. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't know. Like I was explaining to them what the DJ was doing. My DJ co-creator with the records going back and forth, telling them I'm rapping. This is a beat. I had to take them to do a complete tutorial. You know what I'm saying? So. And a lot of places I went, it was that kind of a vibe. We were like breaking new ground. There were no managers. There was no market. You know, it was just like kind of a new world.
Yeah, because New York was big on it first. So it probably was different moving around different places, because I feel like in New York we did have like, I remember having to get a cassette tape out and tape when certain shows would come on, because you didn't know when you would hear hip hop again. It was only like a segment.
Oh yeah, it was it only played on the weekends at the time you're talking about. It would only play on the weekends for like a couple of hours, maybe on Saturday night, maybe a Friday and Saturday, but definitely Saturday. And you know, it kind of evolved from there, and you get a little more play, a little more play, a little more play, and then it eventually went to the mainstream, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately it was initially it was definitely like underground, but even before that, like it was just tapes. It was just underground. It was just that's it. You know what I'm saying?
You remember the first time hearing yourself on the radio?
Oh yeah. DJ Red Alert played it. He was like when he had first started, and he was new to the, not in DJing, but new to the radio, newer to the radio. This was after Mr. Magic, and you know, he played it, and I just was standing up on Farmers Boulevard in Queens, New York, you know what I'm saying, and in front of a game room, you know what I'm saying, and I heard the record on the radio, and it was just like, I felt like I hit the lotto, graduated, you know, everything happened at once. It was the most amazing feeling in the world, you know what I'm saying, because it's like, you know, it felt like a dream come true. You know?
And then Def Jam, you did your first deal at Def Jam. Now, I saw you said that you never had like a really bad situation.
No,
right?
I didn't.
Financially. You know, artists have like these horror stories of, I just gave up on my everything and signed this deal and it was terrible. But you said yours wasn't that bad.
Well, no. Well, first of all, you have to remember, Def Jam was Def Jam Productions, and they had a song called It's Yours. I was the first artist on Def Jam. So we started the label. Russell and Rick started the label, and we went and did this song, I Need a Beat. That Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys, he made the beat, and Rick produced, you know, everything else around it, and Jazzy J did the scratching and all of that, and it kind of just went to a whole nother level. But no, I didn't have a bad deal. Like I ended up in a great place, you know what I'm saying? But that's just because, you know, Russell was an honest dude, and Rick was a real dude, and you know, and then many years later with Leo, I made a deal and got my catalog back. And so the whole thing kind of worked out for me, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm just thankful for that.
Yeah,
you know
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I see you had a lot of great business decisions. Was that something that was implemented you like in you with your family? Because sometimes it's like your family might have businesses or know things, and they're like, nah, you got to do it like this.
Nah. For me, it was trial and error and being curious. You know, it was really just about like staying curious. And what I did was I pay attention to people in front of me and behind me. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, like, you know, like I always learn, one thing I knew early is that you can learn something from anybody. You know, if a homeless dude tell you don't do push-ups in traffic, you should probably listen. Not say, oh, he's homeless, so I'm not listening to that. What does he know? And we have a tendency to, you know, like people have a tendency to only want to listen to people if they think they're successful. That's a mistake.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You can learn something from anyone.
Yes, you can. And they may not be, they may, you know, you just got to know what to listen to. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to climb a tree, you probably shouldn't talk to a fish. You know what I mean? So you got to know who you talking to and what you're talking about.
Right.
That being said, it's just, you know, the business thing kind of intuitively, I just went after certain things, and trial and error, made some mistakes, bumps and bruises along the way. You know what I'm saying? But it all worked out.
And you know what else I realized about you too, now that I put everything back into perspective, right? So doing songs, like everybody always used to be like, I need to do an I Need Love song.
Yeah.
Every hip hop artist at some point felt like they needed one of those like songs for the ladies that was like a deep, heartfelt song. Did you have any idea what type of impact that was going to have? And did you think it would be risky to put something like that out when you did it?
Well, I never paid attention to risk. And you can't, if you're an artist, you can't, risk should be attractive to you as an artist. You know what I mean? Now, that's not like business and venture investments. All of those things are different. But as an artist, I never cared about risk. So when I made a love song, I just made it because that's what I wanted to make. It didn't matter if somebody felt like if like someone needed to judge me a certain way or wanted to like change my brand a certain way in there. I didn't care about that. All I cared about was being true to who I am as an artist. And that's all I still care about, is like creating stuff that really speaks to where I'm at that point in my life, and really presenting it to the world in a way that I feel is, exciting. You know what I mean?
You could do it, I Need Love, but then the next minute you want to knock someone out.
Yeah. Well, but we all have different sides, right?
That.
We all have different sides, right? You ain't going to just be one person. You know what I'm saying?
What made you write that? What was going on? Mama said knock you out.
So that record came off. That was me coming off. See, when I did a Walking with a Panther, the album cover and all of that, that was a time when I introduced a lot of diamonds and ice and jewelry and
champagne.
Yeah, and all of that. Like I really brought a lot of that to the world of hip hop. I've been uptown a lot. I've hanging with a lot of dudes uptown, and that was just what I was doing every day. What my friends did, and it kind of rubbed off on me. And so I presented that in my music, presented that to the world. Well, I got a lot of backlash at that time because that didn't become popular till maybe 10 years later or 7, 8 years later. It ended up getting popular later. So when I initially did it, it was like, it was like, oh, you doing this, you think you this, you think you that. So the Knock You Out record was about showing people that just because I made this celebratory album, Panther, doesn't mean that I can't do other things.
Right, I'll knock you out with this bottle.
Yeah, well, with the spirit, yeah, that too. We could do that too, but that's a lot of stitches. But that's a lot of stitches in the back of the head. But it definitely was just about like just showing people what I'm capable of. It's just like with the new record that I worked on. It's
Force.
Yeah, the album. I'm talking about the whole record, like not just the song. But that whole record it's I just want to show people what's possible.
I tried to call Q-Tip about that too right before you got here. I was like, all right, LL's coming up here. I need some, I was trying to get some details. And he was so tight-lipped. He was like, it's done.
Yo, it's done.
That's all he would tell me.
Yo, the record is done, and it's I think he did an amazing job. I think he's a brilliant dude, and I think people are going to be, they're going to enjoy it when they hear it. I believe they will.
How did that conversation even happen with you and Q-Tip to decide, all right, let's do this album together. I want you to executive produce.
All right. So the real story is that I started off, I did about 30 or 40 songs with Dr. Dre. And in doing those songs, I felt like the music was amazing. What Dre was bringing to the table was super dope, but I felt like the writing, what I was bringing to these songs, it didn't feel strong enough to me. I didn't feel like I was expressing, I was getting out of me what I was feeling in my mind. I just wasn't the thoughts. I didn't feel like it was written properly.
Okay.
So I took a pause. Me and Dre just kind of paused for a minute, and I ended up having a dream, you know what I'm saying? And in this dream, Phife Dawg from A Tribe Called Quest came to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm funny with all that. I follow all these types of things. So when he came to me in a dream, he's like, yo, that album you're going to do with Dre is going to be dope. And I'm looking at him, but he's like smirking a little bit, like he had a funny look on his face. And I'm like, well, why are you looking like that? So he just had that Cheshire Cat grin. So finally, I fell asleep, whatever, woke up. And then over the course of a day or two, I just felt like, Q-Tip was on my spirit. Like, yo, so I just called him. He picked up on the first ring. He's like, yo, what up? Big bro, what up? I'm like, yo, I want to do an album, man. He like, well, what you want to do? I said, I just want some pickle juice, hot sauce. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted like the most flavorful, and we went and did the record, and then the rest is history. And so the music I have to speak for itself.
So you really live, breathe, sleep, and dream hip hop.
There's no question about that. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, I've been a fan since I was 8 or 9, grew up in it. At 16, I turned professional. Like, Yeah.
What was it like going out on the road like that at such a young age? Because it's not like today where you could see and have access to know like certain information. You're learning as you go along. Hip hop was also really young, but you were a huge megastar at a young age going on the road. How was that?
I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was like, instead of the prom, I went on tour. You know what I'm saying?
There's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. You know what I'm saying? I've never been to a prom.
What did you learn? Like, so who was your road manager at the time?
Initially, it was just my man, Cut Creator, would go get the money. Mm-hmm. Like, it was no road manager.
Okay.
All that came later.
And you always got your money?
Most of the time,
okay.
Yeah, most of the time we got it. Sometimes we had some issues. Every now and then we had, but most of the time we did all right.
And then as things got more organized, what was that experience like?
It just got more, it just got bigger, and it got crazier, and it was just more money and more fun, and, then it became, the decisions become like more crucial and more important. But you also got to mature with that. See, there's two ways to play it, right? You could play the finite game or you could play the infinite game. If you play the finite game, then you're only about winning today, and it's going to be what it's going to be. If you play the infinite game, then you're thinking about how it's going to impact the world and how it's going to impact your life long term, and what you're doing and what it's going to mean 1,000 years from now. Mm-hmm. So it's up to you. You know what I'm saying? For me at that time, most of the time, I was kind of just going with my intuition. Right. So luckily, that's the infinite game by default. I ain't know no better. But when you go with your intuition, even though you might break some, step on some toes, ultimately you end up in the right place. Because I mean, the fact that we sitting here talking says I did something right. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
So it's like, that's,
And even being in all these different genres, it's like timing wise, the fact that NCIS, right? You just taped the last episode of that, but now you're embarking on this. Yeah. It's kind of like everything lined up properly though, so you could focus more on one thing.
It's beautiful. I mean, I'm very thankful about the timing. It's just like, it's an amazing feeling. You know what I'm saying?
What made you decide now, like back to arena? Because that's a long time to take off from doing arena tours, 30 years. Yeah. I mean, and you could have been doing this. So what made you not do it? I know you did other shows but what made you say, because you could have been doing this for quite some time.
Just busy. One thing I learned early on is don't limit yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, try different things. When you, like, I had 10 platinum albums in a row. Mm-hmm. I didn't, it was like I wanted to try something else. You know what I mean? So I'm being honest, right? So I said, I'm going to try something else. So then I went and I said, okay, let me try TV. And we do a 14-year run. I thought it was going to last 2 years.
You didn't know.
I didn't know it was going to last 14 years, but I'm not going to quit and leave these people hanging.
Right.
Because I want to, I want to do my music career. I had to like just commit to that and give that love because I said I was going to do it. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Right.
So I committed. Once I was done with that, I did the 14 years. Now let's get to it. And then let's see what's happening. You know what I mean?
So is Rock the Bells your favorite song? I have to ask you that because obviously you have the whole Rock the Bells
it's not my
franchise. So I'm like, this got to be like, I mean, the way it starts, I think is iconic.
It is.
Right? The way that it just comes in. But I'm like, is this his...
No, it's not my favorite song. What that's about is, look, the real thing about that is a long time ago, those guys were running around with the Rock the Bells tour. Mm-hmm. And
I've been to some of them.
Yeah, and which is fine, which is fine. And I was okay with it a little bit for a minute. And then one day they called me up and tried to offer me so, a fee that I was staring at the phone looking at it. I said, so you running around with my IP and then you call me with that? Let me get that back.
Ooh, if they would have just kept quiet, maybe it would have just kept
you got to run that back. So I just took it back. Mm-hmm. And then once I took it because I thought what it was doing was good for hip hop. So that's why I didn't have a problem with it because I like things to be great for hip hop culture. That's how I am. So they could have used it, but when it started getting ran down and then they came to me with these offers and I didn't like, I said, you know what, let me get it back. So I took it and then I, turned it into what it is now. So now it's content, it's commerce, it's experiences, it's lifting up all of these, these different artists. There's been this huge resurgence in timeless artists. And, Rock the Bells, the team at Rock the Bells is hugely responsible largely for a lot of this big resurgence that we're feeling in this 50 years of hip hop. Like, before, the team at Rock the Bells were doing what they were doing and everybody was working hard, it was like people didn't even want to stand next to certain people. It's like, oh, I'm embarrassed. Oh, I got to pretend I'm 14 forever. Or, oh, I have.
Right.
No, I don't have to do that.
You don't.
You know what I'm saying? Because if Bono can be who he is and Tom Cruise can be who he is and Mick Jagger can be who he is, then LL Cool J can be who he is. I don't have to, stand next to anybody else to appear to be something else. Like,
hip hop is growing up. It's not.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine for
It's
that
okay.
to happen.
I'm good with that. So that's how I kind of approached it. You know what I'm saying? So now I look at it and I look at the way the artists are being treated. I look at the success. I look at the resurgence. I look at all the shows they're doing. That makes me feel amazing. And I love the fact that it's cross-generational. So when we do the Grammys, it's like, you know what? Get Lil Baby. Get Glorilla.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get Lil Uzi. Let's
50 years of hip hop. Let's celebrate.
It's for all the generations. That's the beauty of it, right? So I want to see guys like Fabio succeed, and I want to see these different artists do well. You know what I'm saying?
And I think it's great when they sample some of because it makes people really go back and be like, oh, this is where this came from. I think that's amazing when people do that too.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's samples of samples of samples. It's crazy.
Because it doesn't bother you when people sample your music.
As long as I like the song. As long as I like the song. If I don't like the song, I'm not gonna clear.
It's out of here. Okay.
It depends, because some people I don't like hating on guys. I don't like interrupting people's creativity by blocking clearances. I don't really do that a lot. I'd have to really not like the wrecked song to do that. But other than that, I try to be good about that, because I want to treat people the way I want to be treated.
Right.
So when guys do records and they send them to me, most of the time I clear them. Sometimes.
And you also, speaking of 50 years of hip hop, which is amazing, it's 50 years old, but you also have a book coming out.
Oh yeah. So I have a book. It's the Streets Win. It's called LL Cool J Presents The Streets Win, 50 Years of Hip Hop Greatness. And what I have essays from all of the different people in hip hop over the years. So everybody from Dr. Dre to a Mary J. Blige, from a Snoop Dogg to an Eminem to a all of the different art, Q-Tip, just different acts, Funk Flex,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Different people are all involved in this book, and it's all essays, so it's straight from the horse's mouth. Why is that important? Because 100, 200, 300, 400, 1,000 years from now, those stories and that narrative is correct. So you can't create a fake Mount Rushmore based on who topped the chart last week.
Right.
Because it's kind of like, the music business and hip hop is kind of like I got you last. So it's like, oh, whoever had the hottest record for the last 2 years, they the man. Like, no, it doesn't quite work like that. That's not how it works. It's about who had impact on the game and who did different things in different ways with different people. Because there's no rule that says that one person has to be the one. It's about who people like and who makes people, this guy might have a song that wasn't even a single. It was an album cut, but this guy was sitting in a cell, or this girl was going through something with her mom, and that song meant everything to them. That's what art is about, right? So this book is essays all from these different artists speaking directly to the people. Nas, different people talking about, hip hop and talking about hip hop culture, how they started, what they love, what they don't like. So I got the real stories in this book. So every family, if you're a hip hop fan, every family should own that book, because it's a piece of history. And people have to remember that, this is 50 years of hip hop, and the things I'm doing, this is history. It's not normal. So you shouldn't take it lightly, because 20, 30, 40 years from now, you're going to remember these moments. So you gotta remember that.
And it coincides great with this tour that you have.
Yeah, the tour. The tour is, I think, really special. I think what we did on the Grammys inspired me to want to go on the road again. And, so I have the Roots with me, DJ Jazzy Jeff and DJ Z Trip, like
legendary already.
It's crazy. And then we're gonna have all these unbelievable curated experiences based on the market.
Man, I love the fact that Salt and Pepper, when I was coming up, that was my favorite group.
Yeah, Salt and Pepper's amazing.
And when I interviewed them, I was really fanning out, because I was sitting back like, I can't believe I'm talking to Salt and Pepper. You could have never told me as a kid. But I think as a woman, seeing them doing what they did and seeing like a Roxanne Shante and an MC Light and Moni Love, and I know she has a show now on Rock the Bells too.
Yeah, she has a new show.
And I think she's so talented at what she does, but sometimes she doesn't realize how iconic she is. Like, when you've done something, I don't think people understand the impact, like you said earlier, that you have on people.
Well, self-awareness is a part of life, right? Like, being self-aware and understanding where you are. Like, so funny. When you're in a hotel, if you look behind the door, there's a little map. It says, you are here. At least that's what, and you look, and that tells you where you're at in relation to the exit. You have to be self-aware. You have to be aware where you're at in life and understand that. However, you have to be able to do it with humility and not get caught up and not get so arrogant that you end up like making a huge misstep. You know what I'm saying? And playing yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I think it's good that we also have a chance to hear some of these stories now. Because I think as hip-hop is growing up and some of the artists that we might have grew up listening to who are still out here working, now they're going and telling their stories. But some of them you're like, oh, damn, I don't know if that was... Because when you're telling your stories, sometimes you're telling other people's stories too.
Well, I mean, you
know,
gotta...
And that's hard. That's a hard balance.
It ain't really a hard balance at all. Don't put no names in it.
Okay.
Don't put no names in it. I'm telling the
but-
whole story. Just ain't no names in the joint.
Like,
You know what I mean?
does it bother you if people have some LL stories and they put you
I
in...
mean, it is what it is.
Okay.
It's going to be what it's
You're
going
like,
to
I
be.
put out books, it's fine.
I mean, it is what it is. No, ain't nothing fine, but it is what it is. I'm like everybody else. Don't tell on me either. You know what I mean? I ain't volunteering to get snitched on. But nah, I mean, the stories are what the stories are, man.
Yeah,
we all
yeah.
live life. You know what I'm saying? We all live life.
How much do you think it helped you to get married at a young age too? Because that probably
Helped you
kept
with
you out
what?
of a lot of probably. I
Help
mean,
with what?
I read your book, so I know you. But I'm saying, but
Help
as
with
far
what?
as being more grounded and like,
Right.
you know, because I feel like you could have been way wilder. For real, a little wild, but you could have been way worse.
Could I have been?
All right, you was kind of bad in your own words in your book.
Nah.
But I'm just saying it does. I think family does sometimes make you feel a little bit more responsible.
Definitely. Look. You know, listen. I mean, everybody got their own way of doing things. B. In my life, I was always about quality, not quantity.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, to each his own.
Your leg's shaking. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Okay.
I'm extremely nervous. You make me very nervous
Why?
with these questions. I'm shaking in my boots over here.
What I was getting to was you do have 4 children,
Yes.
right? And so one of your daughters, is she an artist now?
She's a songwriter.
She's a songwriter,
She just
okay.
graduated from the college of Berkeley College of Music.
How do you feel about her being in the
think
music
it's-
business? Is
I
that
think it's amazing. I think
Okay.
it's amazing. It's what she wants.
right?
You know what I'm saying? You talk about family keeping you grounded. I mean, the real answer, the honest answer is that you got to take care of your family. Mm-hmm. And no, nobody's perfect. We all know that.
Right.
But
that's what guys say. When
it's the truth. I mean, I
I'm
could
playing
say,
with you.
no, you're not. No, you're not. But I'm playing with you. No, but you gotta, you gotta take care of your family and make sure that everybody's right and everybody's straight.
Right.
And that's what I've always done. So with the kids, I'm just happy her dream came true. You know what I'm saying? It's like I want to make their dreams a reality. So what I try to do with my family and my kids and all of them, even with Simone, is just be a facilitator of dreams. She wanted to do her jewelry line.
I love her jewelry
Yeah,
line. I'm not gonna lie. It's her and Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, they rocking.
Every time I wear their stuff, people come up to me. Every time I wear Simone stuff, and they'll be like, "Where'd you get those earrings from?" It's really. I know you don't care about it, but it's great quality.
I'm about the quality.
Yeah, no, it is because sometimes you can have earrings and they'll like break when you do the clasp and all. Hers last forever.
Yeah, Simone, she's really good about that. She loved earrings.
And they be selling out everywhere. It's hard to
She
find.
does well. Yeah, she's doing her thing. Listen, I'm happy for her. Her and Mary, they're working hard on that and really putting a lot of work into that jewelry, and it's going well for them. So
I be seeing it on Power Book 2 all the time.
Yeah, she's rocking.
I'm like, Mary be having them earrings on, don't she?
She's rocking. So all the kids are happy. My daughter Samaria, she has a denim line which does well. My son, he works at Rock the Bells.
Right. See, and you kind of instilled both of you guys instilled that in your kids, like that creativity.
Yeah. I just want them to look. My thing is make a contribution to the world. Make a contribution to the world. Make an impact on the world. When I was saying something to somebody, I just got some news about somebody who had passed away that was well known, and me and my man were talking about how great of a person he was and how much of a man he was. And what I said to my man, and while we were in the mid conversation, I said, "You see, we didn't talk about his bank account."
Right.
So what does that tell you? That tells you that you got to make an impact on the world with the things that you do. Like the money stuff, that can cloud your vision. It's nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I've always been about
You
getting
can do
money.
great things for people with money too.
No question.
Yeah.
I'm very entrepreneurial. Always been about getting
And
paid.
philanthropic.
100%.
Yes.
I promise you. However, I just want to caution people. Remember That's not what you talk about. Nobody talks about Ali's bank account.
Right.
They don't talk about Miles Davis's bank account. We like it when you're alive. It is fun. It's nice to shop. It's fun to get it all. I know. But nobody talks about that when you're gone. So you have to make an impact. And the impact you make has to be greater than just $1.
I said that when Harry Belafonte passed, and also Michael K. Williams when he died.
See?
And everybody was talking about how great of a person he was. It wasn't even famous people. It was, just people who knew him, came across him, and they were like, he was amazing when I met him.
So when you're on this radio and when you're building your show, and as you're showing the younger girls and yourself, even younger, what's possible. That's what this is about.
Right,
it's
I
not
agree.
only about your contract. I got my solo deal after I came off the big show and I worked it and all. It's not just about that. It's about what these little girls see when they look at the show, listen to the show, or watch the podcast and all of that. It's about all of that. You feel me?
Yeah, no, I definitely totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And then I think for you, just what you're trying to do is cement the legacy of hip hop and document these 50 years.
Yeah.
I feel like the book is doing that, the tour is doing that. Now you're back on Def Jam.
Yeah. I'm doing this album.
Because I seen the Tina's in the room. So.
The Def Jam. See, the album is fun because hip hop 50 is very young in real years when you look at a genre and you look at the world. 50 sounds like a lot of time when you're 15, but that's different from in the real scheme of things. It's very young in terms as a genre and as an art form. It's 50 years. It's only 50 years, right? So it's like what we haven't seen is an artist who can be there from the beginning or early on, do something at another point in time and have a real significant impact creatively. And I want to show people what's possible creatively. That's why when I talk about James Cameron doing Avatar, when I talk about Spielberg doing films and Tom Cruise, the reason why I bring these guys up is because they're able to focus on to present their craft at a high level over multiple decades and years. And I want to show people with this Force record that I did with Q-Tip what's possible creatively so that artists can stop pretending that they want to retire when in reality they're just afraid that they don't know because they don't know what to do next.
Right.
So they get afraid. I think I might retire. No, you want to feel loved and you want to feel like people want you to continue because you don't know what to do. Because you're scared now because you've reached this point and you don't know it. You've seen something change over there and the generational change and it's made you a little nervous and you're like not sure what to do. What you have to do is be yourself.
You know what's not easy too? Everybody having access to have something to say. Because think about when you first came out, you had to wait for an article to come out. You had to do an interview. And then, a couple months later, it comes out. You get to read the reviews. You don't know what people are saying until, something's already done. And usually the people that are saying those things are journalists or people who are really critics.
And so go ahead. You was going to say
But there's a good and a bad side to that, right? Because you can get responses right away. They could be negative or positive. But sometimes it's a lot to take in.
Well, you're right. I'll just say this to you. See, those responses only weigh heavy on you when you don't really, really love what you did. When you did something and you were guessing, and you have a lot of artists, right? They make songs or they make music and I think people will like this. This is the wave. You think I think they'll like this. That's how they create.
Right.
They create in the space of, I think they'll like this. So what happens is when people don't like it, they're terribly disappointed because they were wrong. When you create from the heart, there is no wrong.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me if you tell me you don't like it because me and Q-Tip
we love it
because I love it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter to me whether you like it or not. Because it's true. Like, what? Now let's go back. Let's rewind again. You mentioned I Need Love. I had dudes tell me, this Christmas music. Yo, BL, you can't do it. Yo, Tar, come on, man. You can't do this. You got to keep the I'm bad. You got to do it. This is what I'm doing. So it didn't matter to me. So that's where that's the difference between being an artist for real and being a creator of music just for mass consumption.
Right. And it was great for you. You were able to jump into all different types of I guess, moods or not necessarily genres, but you could do a song like with Boys to Men.
Yeah, versatile.
Right. And then you can do
Right.
a song like I'm That Type of Guy or
Right.
and just all over the place, get your head sprung.
That's right.
And then you introduced us to Foxy Brown.
Yeah, and DMX.
And DM,
Yeah.
let's not forget that.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is? It's like
I remember when that first I Shot Your when that came
Yo.
out. I just got to say this: people thought at first they thought because she was so hard, they thought it was like a boy.
young boy.
Yeah,
I know.
when that first came out, and we
I
were
know.
excited when we realized no, that's a woman. That's
Fox
Foxy
Boogie.
Brown.
Yeah. Fox is amazing. Shout out to Foxy. I hope she does some music and comes out. During this whole celebratory time.
Oh,
but yeah,
you trying to get her to come out?
I think she should.
Yeah, I think
she should.
You got to stop at the Barclays. I think that would be
You know what
legendary.
I mean? I don't see why she wouldn't. Come
Okay.
on out.
All right.
The Barclays, we're going to be at the Barclays June 27th. We're going to be at Prudential Center on June 28th.
I love that you know the dates off the top of your head.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead. Finish
Yeah,
what you're
no,
saying.
that's what I think what you're saying is right. You just got to love what you do, though. You
Mm-hmm.
got to really love it, man. And then when people know that you're not pretending, it's different. It's different when you're not pretending.
Right.
When it's not an act.
Yeah.
Like when you're really writing from the soul and you're really making stuff that's creative. Yeah, you pay attention to sonics. Like me and Tip, my thing was I don't want to do anything that sounds like what I did before, and I don't want to do anything that sounds like what's going on now. That's the rules. Now everything else, let's just have some fun with it.
All right.
You know what I mean? So
Are you going to have are there guest appearances? I know that it's done.
There's some guest appearances on the album.
Can you
for
give
sure.
us anything? A little something?
I mean, it's floating out there. It's floating around out there. I don't want to say it because Q-Tip gets mad. Oh, big bro, we might be able to get past you saying that, big bro. He starts with this. Yo, some ups. You know what I mean? But yeah, we got some joints. I got some real. It's gonna be heavy.
Are you documenting this tour?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'll be filming everything, and it's all a movie. It's all history.
Well, I think we got to make it to the Barclays.
You definitely got to come down.
Yeah, she said yes.
You got to come
Because
down.
this is like my type of tour. I'm really excited to come.
You got to come down and just enjoy
So tell
it.
us some of the other people that are on the road with you guys. I know
So-
it's Bone Thugs, De La Soul.
Yeah, I got Common in Chicago. I got Bone Thugs. I got Ice-T doing some dates. I got
Ooh.
Queen Latifah. I
You
got
got
Salt
some
and
people
Pepper.
popping out that don't
Salt and
pop
Pepper.
out.
Yeah, I got Redman and Method Man. I got so many different artists. Like it's gonna be amazing. You'll see. I'm
Okay.
telling you, people listen. The key to everything I'm doing is it's not about LL. It's about the culture. I have a line on one of the songs. I said, "Back to elevate the culture. That's my only motive." That's true. You know what I'm saying? That's really true. So when you come to these shows, I got MC Light on some shows.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be it's gonna be a vibe. You know what I'm saying? I got Jada Kiss on some shows.
Who do you fan out over ever? Like, when's the last time you was like excited? Like, I can't believe I
can't believe I
can't believe I just met this person. Like, do you ever fan out? Because you've met everybody at this point, but is there anybody that you've gotten excited over?
I mean, I remember like maybe quite a few years ago, I met Meryl Streep, and I was like, "Oh, I'm excited to meet Meryl Streep."
It's like random person.
That's
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, Meryl Streep, this is exciting." I felt a little, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt excited.
Somebody you don't just run into.
Yeah, I was excited.
Okay.
But a lot of my heroes, are my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like I'm friends with Denzel, you know what I'm saying? But I still love his work, but
Yeah.
he's my man. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little different. You know what I mean? But like when I look at I love to just see people succeed and win. I'm absolutely the dude that like I give it up at the concerts. I give it up when people on TV. I'm clapping, I'm dancing. I'm not like I don't do the too good to
You're not too cool.
Not
Yeah.
too cool for school and all that.
What
know
was
what I'm
your
saying?
first concert you ever went to?
Ever?
Yeah.
Oh man, my first concert, you had the Crash Crew sequence, flashing them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was a shootout. On top of that, I had to run
Whoa.
up under the stage. I loved it. I loved it.
One of those things where
I
everybody
loved
start
it.
running and you got to run.
Yo, when they started to pop, oh yeah, I jumped over. I got over the barricade, went on the stage. I was like looking at the stage, like I'm gonna be
This
on
is
the stage
hip-hop.
one day. I'm touching the bottom of the stage, looking up. People are screaming, and I'm just looking up at the bottom of the stage, like one day I'm gonna be on this stage. This is literally what I'm doing.
This feels like the beginning
Yo,
of the movie.
It was crazy. It was crazy. It
This-
was the craziest moment.
I feel like there's an LL Cool J movie coming. I don't know.
There could be. I could. I've had people. Michael Bivins always bugs me to yo. That's my man too. He like yo. You got to do a movie.
You do.
Yo, bro. You got to do. I definitely think about it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely been thinking about doing one or a series around my life. I think people would. But first thing I want to do is get this record out there because I want to show people what's possible.
Okay, so when is it coming out? Let's put a date on it.
Yeah, I don't want to put a date on it. I don't want to put a date on it.
Okay.
But it's coming this year.
All right.
It's coming this year, though.
All right, so it's sometime this year.
Sometime,
for
no
sure.
question.
That's a
for
fact,
sure.
because we're going to run this back.
Yeah, no.
December 31st.
Run it back. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Run
All
that
right.
back.
All right. Well, LL Cool J, thank you so much. This is our first time sitting down having a conversation. I hope we do it again.
We will do it
I know
again.
you're super busy running around, but we'll be there at the Barclays.
Productive.
All right, yeah,
Appreciate
productive.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. No doubt.